All right, you can go and start by titling your notes section 0.2 divisibility rules and tricks. Rules and tricks. And go ahead and underline that. So what does it mean to be divisible? Well, divisible means the capability of being divided without a remainder. So being divisible is the capability of being divided without a remainder. Well, you need to know what even numbers are when you're looking at divisibility rules. Now, even numbers are numbers that can be divided into groups of two without any leftover. So even numbers are numbers that can be divided into groups of two without any leftover. For example, if a whole number is even, it will always, I'm going to go ahead and square always because that's important. It will always end in a number that can be divided by 2. So even numbers are nice because if a whole number is even, always 100% of the time it will end in a number that can be divided by 2. So what are these numbers? Well, these numbers are and end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So these numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So when you're looking at this, we call this a 2, 3, 5 check. The 2, 3, 5 check. So go and write 2, 3, 5 check. And the 2 rule, there are only 3 rules when you look at divisibility. The 2 rule is that the ones place is even. So you'll see a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So for example, take a look at the number 38. The number 38 ends in 8. 8 can be divided by 2 evenly. So 38 is even. 38 is even. So the second rule is the 3 divisibility rule. This one is my favorite, and this is why. It's because the sum I like to add. So the sum, which is the answer to all addition problems, of all the digits of all the numbers are divisible by 3. So for example, just take a look at the number 231. So you take 231 and you add the numbers. 2 plus 3 plus 1. And that equals 6. Well, 6 divided by 3 equals 2, which is a whole number. A whole number. So, when you look at that, 231 is divisible by 3. And then as you're going along, these rules are important. So go ahead and square off 2, 3, and this one is 5. The last and final rule is 5. So when you're looking at 5, 5 is actually a pretty simple one. This one I would say is my second favorite. The 5 rule states that ones place is 0 or 5. That's it. In the ones place, if you see a 0 or you see a 5, you can divide that number by 5. It's divisible by 5. So let's take a look at an example. For example, 255 ends in 5. So 255 is divisible by 5. Now, if you're looking at these rules, at some time you might run into a number that, well, it's not divisible by 2. It might not be divisible by 3, and it's not divisible by 5. We call those numbers prime numbers. Prime numbers. All right, a prime number is a number. A prime number is a number is prime if it is only, now I'll write that in caps, only divisible by 1 and itself. 1 and itself. For example, 17 has the factors of only 1 and 17. And that's it. So let's take a look at an example. First example is 25. So go and write 25 and write a 2, a 3, and a 5. Okay? So let's do the 2 check. Well, if you look at the ones place, on the ones place in 25, our 2 rule says the ones place is even, 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Well, is the ones place is 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? Well, it's not, so just put an X. Just put an X. The 3 test, let's see if the 3 test works. Well, the 3 test says sum of all the digits of all the numbers are divisible by 3. So let's go and write 2. Go and write 2 plus 5, and that equals 7. Well, 7 divided by 3, because that's the number we're testing, does not equal a whole number. So if it does not equal a whole number, that 3 test does not work. But the 5 test, let's look at this. The ones place right here, the 5, is 0 or 5. Well, the ones place in 25 is a 5, so 5 works. Go and circle 5. So the one number that it is divisible by is 5. So let's take a look at another example. Number 2. Go and write 180. 180. Okay. And once again, just write a 2, a 3, and a 5. These are the numbers we're testing. So on the 2 test, always look at that ones place. Is the ones place is 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? Sure is. Go and put a check. 2 works. The 3 test says to add up all the numbers and divide by 3. So 1 plus 8 plus 0 equals 9. And 9 divided by 3 equals 3. Well, that is a whole number. So 3 works. And let's check the last one. So if the ones place is a 0 or a 5, it's divisible by 5. Well, look at the ones place. Is that ones place a 0? Sure is. 5 works. 180 is divisible by 2, 3, and 5. And our last example, number 3, is 19. So write 2, 3, and 5. Well, as you look at the 2, is the ones place is 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? Well, since it's not, the 2 doesn't work. Well, let's try the 3 test. Well, we know we have to add 1 plus 9. We have to add the digits. That equals 10. And 10 divided by 3, does that equal a whole number? It does not. So go ahead and cross that off, and 3 does not work. And our final test, 5. 5 is at ones place a 0 or a 5? Well, since it's not a 0 or a 5, I'm going to cross that off. So if your numbers are not divisible by 2, 3, or 5, we call that prime. We call that prime. The only factors are 1 and 19. So on the back side of your notes, go ahead and jot down 4. Number 7. Number 4 is 7. 5 is 1,276. 6 is 2,547. 7 is 9. And 8 is 10. Go ahead and just write 2, 3, and 5 for all of these. And go ahead and try these on your own.